Look, and a Sussex insider has claimed that Prince Harry is prepared to reconcile with King Charles, even without the support of Meghan Markle. So what's the latest on this proposed peace summit?
Right. I think this is a really crucial detail that's come out this week. An insider has said that Harry is sort of continuing negotiations and discussions and that they don't necessarily include his wife. That's not to sort of spark any speculation about their marriage. I think their marriage is strong, but I think that Harry has understood that his family may never accept Meghan Markle. I think that, you know, just the timeline of events has just been so catastrophic in terms of the institution, but also on a personal level. Things that have been said, especially by Meghan, but also by Harry, have done great personal and reputational damage to Charles, also to William and Kate. And I think from their point of view, they're always going to be on guard. I think any type of peace summit, if it ever does happen, I don't think it would be, they could never really let him back in. How could you? You know, this is the person, you know, just as a reminder, in these interviews, you know, there were allegations of racism by an unnamed royal. It was later alleged that the unnamed royals were Kate and Charles. You know, that was never confirmed. The Sussexes denied that, but it was in that Omid Scobie book.
Yeah.
You know, those are absolutely, you know, very, very defamatory, reputation, sort of decimating kind of allegations. And of course, after something like that, you know, how could you trust them again? I don't think they'll ever trust Harry and Meghan again.
Imagine walking away from a family that never protected you, only to have the world demand you crawl back, just for the same family to say, actually, we'll take you, but not your wife. That's the royal drama swirling right now. And once again, Meghan Markle's name is on everyone's lips, but not at the reconciliation table. Let's talk about the royal family's selective amnesia, the media's obsession with excluding Meghan, and why the Sussexes don't need anyone's royal permission to thrive. News of royal peace talks arrives, but Meghan Markle's name is missing. The press calls it rejection, but maybe it's liberation. These talks aren't about healing, they're about protecting the institution. To be included would mean playing by rules that never served her. Meghan's absence isn't a loss, it's proof she's no longer bound by their protocols. She's not a player in their game, she's built her own. The royal family negotiates their world, she's already left it behind. The closed door isn't emptiness, it's her declaration of independence. The royal family survives by forgetting its role in past hurts, carefully tucking away uncomfortable truths behind a polished facade. The grandeur of the crown is built not just on tradition, but on selective memory, choosing what to remember and, more importantly, what to forget. Instead of confronting the shadows of their history, they focus on image over introspection, presenting a united front to the world while avoiding the deeper questions that linger beneath the surface. History is full of those minimized for the sake of unity. Faces blurred in the background, stories left untold, all sacrificed to maintain the illusion of harmony and stability. The institution's strength depends on never admitting its own faults, on keeping the gates closed to honest reflection, and on projecting an image of unwavering dignity, no matter the cost. When Meghan spoke out, she exposed the cold machinery behind the velvet ropes, revealing the emotional toll of being part of a system that values silence over support and protocol over personal well-being. The response? Defense, not reform. The institution circled its wagons, prioritizing its reputation over genuine change and doubling down on its established ways. Recollections may vary was a refusal to validate her pain, a carefully crafted phrase that dismissed her experience without ever addressing the substance of her claims. Expecting true reconciliation from such an institution is wishful thinking. The palace walls are thick, built to keep out not just the public, but also uncomfortable truths and calls for accountability. Any talks would focus on the Sussex problem, not the monarchies. The conversation is always about managing dissent, never about addressing the root causes of pain or division. Meghan's exclusion spares her from reliving invalidation, freeing her from the cycle of strategic conversations that offer no real healing or acknowledgement. She avoids a strategic, not healing conversation, a meeting designed to protect the institution, not to mend relationships or foster understanding. Her absence is protection, not punishment. In stepping away, she claims her own narrative, finding peace outside the palace walls and refusing to carry the weight of a crown that was never truly hers to bear. The media simplifies Meghan's story, casting her as the disruptive outsider. They frame her exclusion as deserved, ignoring the relentless attacks and lack of support she faced. By blaming her, the press absolves the institution of responsibility. The real story is a clash between old tradition and new values, a failure of empathy and imagination. Meghan's exclusion isn't punishment, it's recognition that the system was never meant for her. She's not missing out, she's choosing not to return to a place incompatible with her well-being. The narrative of blame is fiction, the truth is far more complex. She's not being left out, she's moving forward. True power isn't found near a throne, but in the courage to walk away. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is choosing your own path, even when it means leaving behind centuries of tradition and expectation. Meghan Markle's decision to step away from royal life was not just a physical move. It was a declaration of independence, a bold statement that her worth was not defined by titles or proximity to power. Meghan's strength was never her title. It was her intelligence, ambition, and compassion. She has always been driven by a desire to make a difference, to use her voice for those who are unheard, and to create opportunities for others. Her work in philanthropy, advocacy, and business shows a woman who is unafraid to lead with empathy and vision. Her journey proves she doesn't need royal approval to thrive. In fact, her success outside the palace walls has only amplified her influence. Meghan has built a platform that reaches far beyond the confines of royalty, inspiring countless people to pursue their own dreams, regardless of the obstacles. Her happiness isn't tied to acceptance from a family that struggled to accept her. Instead, she's found joy in authenticity, in relationships built on mutual respect and love, and in the freedom to define her own identity. She's building her own legacy, her own way. Every project, every initiative is a reflection of her values and her commitment to positive change. Meghan is shaping a future that is uniquely hers, unburdened by the expectations of the past. The monarchy has forgiven greater scandals, but Meghan's independence was her crime. Her refusal to conform, to be silent, or to fit a predetermined mould was seen as a threat, not a strength. Yet it is this very independence that has become her greatest asset. Her exclusion is a gift, freeing her from old battles. No longer weighed down by the need for approval, Meghan can focus on what truly matters: her family, her passions, and her purpose. She invests in her future, not in mending what was never whole. With every step forward, she chooses growth, healing, and progress over resentment or regret. Her success is measured by her impact and peace, not proximity to a palace. The lives she touches, the causes she champions, and the love she shares are the true markers of her legacy. This is the freedom she and Harry sought and found. Together, they have created a life defined not by royal protocol, but by authenticity, purpose, and the courage to be themselves. Meghan's new kingdom is built on self-determination, not crowns. Her exclusion from royal talks is proof she's established her own sovereign life. She's a producer, philanthropist, and mother. Her power is earned, not borrowed. She and Harry now speak freely, living by their own values. The monarchy negotiates its image. Meghan lives her truth. Her absence is a statement: I am no longer your concern. She was never fully accepted in the royal fold. Now she doesn't need to ask for it. She leads her own life, her own kingdom. Life offers a choice: stay in the gilded cage or fly free. Meghan's story is not exclusion, but triumph, her spirit uncaged. The final act isn't her absence from talks, but her thriving beyond them. True power is walking away from a table where you're not respected. Her story inspires us to define our own narrative, to build our own happiness. Her greatest blessing isn't a title, but the freedom to be herself. Exclusion isn't the end. It's confirmation she's the author of her story. She wasn't left out. So let's leave them to their reconciliation cosplay. Meghan doesn't need their crown, their approval or their cold tea. She already won. Thanks for tuning in to Meghan and Harry Tales. Hit that like button, subscribe for more truth-telling, and remember, you don't need a palace to have power, just the courage to walk away from one.